It was sloppy. It took time to get things going. But you know what? None of that matters because a win is a freaking win. And I've waited since October of last year for Nebraska to have a significant victory. And we finally got it today. The last time Nebraska beat a Big Ten team was October something when they beat Northwestern by 50-some points, which was an entire year ago, basically. And when everything felt like it was stacked against us, and this season felt like a total loss. I mean, this last week's been a rough week for me. I haven't been motivated to make content. I didn't think that Nebraska really had a chance against IU, not because they didn't have a more talented team, because we know Nebraska's still got a lot of talent, but because all of the cards have fallen against them. And it just felt like all of the work they had done from January until August was a waste. The coaches hadn't done enough to get them prepared to play against anybody who had any decent talent. They were prepared to go up against North Dakota, but they weren't prepared to go up against a team even like Georgia Southern, who lost to Coastal Carolina today. The point is, this was a much-needed win. It brings life back to me. I know it brings life back into you, and everybody was excited that I saw at the game. Man, I got so many DMs of pictures of people at the game, hyped up, wearing the Nebraska stuff, still excited and still having hope for the season. And without this win, I don't know what the vibe would have been going forward, right? There's all the talk about the danger of losing the sellout streak and everything else, but a win like this makes us believe that there's hope for more, especially when you've got a very questionable Big Ten West Conference. Well, West Division, right? So many teams who we thought were going to be decent are just not. Illinois lost to Indiana. Illinois beat Wisconsin today. Not that that matters, but the point is the playing field is so level. Exciting day. Let me get to chat. I'm happy with the win, guys, as you obviously can tell. What's up, Ryan? Thank you for the 20. Been a long time since we've seen energy on the sidelines. That was refreshing. Mickey Joseph was pumped. Okay, one point of energy that I really did like was the constructive energy from Whipple and Mickey Joseph towards their players. Not that I wanted to see players get scolded on the sideline, but watching them chew guys out who were making mistakes felt good. It felt like there was discipline being taken and that guys were learning lessons in the moment. Casey, like we've talked about, hasn't had the best moments when it comes to making plays. He sits back, backpedals, and doesn't find a way to make a play when it matters, which means using his legs to scramble around and create more time for himself when you've got a weaker offensive line guarding for you, right? When he made that mistake, I don't know how many times he's done it now, and took a sack, Mark Whipple went in. There was a 20-something second clip on Twitter, I'll find it in a minute here, where Mark Whipple just chewed into him. And it resulted in him getting benched and Chuba coming in, and then obviously the sack turn touchdown happened. But the point was, I liked seeing the energy. Whether you wanted him to get benched or not, doesn't really matter. I liked that the coach was in there going all in at that moment because he wanted to win the game, and he felt like his quarterback wasn't doing his job to win the game. Obviously, that energy turned into something positive because Casey played a lot better after that. He scrambled a little bit more, made better plays, didn't take as many sacks. I mean, hard to argue with what Mark Whipple did. Same with Mickey. When Turner got thrown out of the game for throwing a punch, which was total BS, we can all agree he didn't throw a punch. He might have been a little physical on the face mask and probably was unnecessary, but the heat of the moment. Point is, Mickey went in right in front of the ref on national TV. It was a 15-second moment, and it was like, wow, this is something positive. Anyway, that was my take on the energy on the sideline. Again, thanks, Ryan, for the 20. We got another one coming from James. It says, the defense played with high energy and made tackles. Oops, I just received a flag for aggressive celebration. Dude, I don't know how many flags there were. I haven't looked yet. We'll check out in a second. Actually, I'll do it right now. I got pulled up. 12 penalties on Nebraska for 111 yards. Absurd, but you know, at least they were playing aggressive. That's the way I'm looking at it. At least they were going after it, taking shots. The penalties were ridiculous today, but at least they called them for both sides. 11 for IU, 12 for Nebraska. Thanks for the 5, James. Go Big Red. Evan, nice to see some energy on the sidelines for a change. Nice to see some physicality, but we need to clean up the penalties. We're lucky that they didn't come back to bite us too bad. Yeah, it's very true. The thing is, there's going to be some sloppiness. You've got a lot of new guys playing. The offensive line, I think we're down 3 starters in that game today. You had Prohaska out, Corcoran out, Nuili's out. Was there one more who we had talked about this week? Kevin Williams is out. So you've got a lot of new guys in there. They're just trying to put together what they can. So there's going to be sloppiness. And fortunately, they've got Rutgers coming up, so they can afford to be sloppy again. Not that Rutgers is terrible, but Rutgers isn't very good. They're kind of like on the level of Indiana or Nebraska right now. So fortunately, they're going to have a chance to clean up some of those mistakes. But I agree with you. In the games that matter, the Wisconsin, well, every game matters, but in the games that are going to be a little bit tougher down the road, Wisconsin, even Illinois, Purdue, Minnesota, can't have all those penalties if you're going to win games. And I've got hope that Nebraska can win every single game left on their schedule. I mean, I'm sure you do too. Like we said, the Big Ten West isn't that great. Thank you for the $10, Evan. We've got Cash. So is Corcoran out for the next game as well? Anyways, big game, huge energy, GBR. Thank you for the 20, Cash. I don't know the answer to that yet. Because usually in a targeting situation, you'd be out for the first half of the second game. I'm not sure, and I'm sure they'll talk about it in the presser, or they'll talk about it tonight later on, and I'll post about it on Instagram or in the Discord, but I don't have the answer right now. I would hope not, because that was such a BS call. He just tapped the guy like that. He didn't punch him. They made it seem like he walked up and hit him in the face. I didn't see that, but who knows? We're going to find out soon. Thank you for the 20, Cash. Another super chat from Ardwin. Shot me 5. Hey, thank you, Ardwin. Thank you for the support. I see you in the comments. Guys, I'm going to get to the regular comments as well. Sorry, I just had to bang out some of the super chats because they stacked up for a second. Palmer was on fire. We got to talk about Palmer. We got to talk about Casey Thompson. There's so many. Jeez, we got more super chats coming in. Shoot, Cody shot me 100. Thank you for the 100, Cody. Thanks for the content. I always look forward to watching your videos. Love the defensive stance and the energy on that side. Also, if you guys want me to make this a regular thing, at the end of every college football Saturday, I come on here, go live. We do however long, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I can make this a thing because I enjoy doing it because I spent my entire day on the couch watching games. I've not left my apartment. It's been a long day, but it was finally capped by something positive. I'm looking at the screen. It's a 14-point win. Are you freaking kidding me? Let's go. I'm all hyped up. I got to take a shower after this, guys. Cody, thank you for the 100. And the energy on the sideline, I think that's the one thing that we're all kind of on the same page on. There was so much positive energy that carried us to a victory. And in the past, what's the right word? Lethargicness of the coaches. Scott Frost is stoic. That was a word someone used today with Scott Frost. And that chill demeanor didn't work out in our favor. So to finally have someone like Mickey bring out some fire, maybe it's working. Maybe there's something to be said for being hyped up. I believe there is, because when I go in to do anything in life and I want to win and be pumped and excited, and I do actually act this way and act like something good's going to happen, good things usually happen. Whereas if I'm chill and, somber on the sideline, it can go left. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least I didn't get my hopes up. But screw that. Get our hopes up. Act like we're going to win. Keep getting after teams. The way they got after Indiana today, the way they just drove the ball down their throat, especially on the deep pass in the fourth quarter, early fourth quarter with Trey, or end of third. I don't know. The point is, when they fired it down, what was that, a 70-yard bomb from Casey? Man, that one got my blood going. Crypto Badgers in here with the 20. Thank you for the 20. I'm telling you, Polar Bear needs to take Ben Hart's spot. You're a hard believer in Nash Hutmacher playing offensive line. I don't know. Ben Hart, he was the one guy who is on this line and has been there consistently for the last 17, 18 games, whatever it's been. So it's hard when you take out an anchor point like Ben Hart, but you might be onto something. I don't know the answers. They're going to keep messing with that offensive line, though, because the more guys get rotated or pulled out, they're going to have to put some guys in and keep it rolling. The one good thing about the defensive line, speaking on the Polar Bear, Ty Robinson lit it up tonight. He was powerful. He wasn't letting guys drive him backwards. He was actually getting to the ball. I think he had a sack. O'Shawn Mathis. You guys all saw it. There was a play in the fourth quarter where O'Shawn came off the left edge, and he looked like his highlights from TCU. He didn't have the sack, but he was an inch away, and I finally realized what we had in him, or what we had hoped we had in him, can actually come to fruition at Nebraska. It hasn't happened until today that we finally saw some spark from him. So I was really happy that O'Shawn got that one. Not got the sack, but showed us signs of life. I think that's the key word here. It's progress. We talked about that this week. We need to see progress, and we need to make sure that we're seeing somebody inch towards getting better. Nebraska today inched towards getting better. Fuck that. They took a massive step towards getting better. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get too excited, too hyped up. We're not going to see him go to the Rose Bowl, probably. We're not going to see him win 9 games, probably. But there's a lot of hope for this team. You got Rutgers next week on the road. It's a Friday night game. It's going to be a hostile environment. Just kidding. Rutgers on a Friday night, it's not going to be easy. But if Nebraska could somehow win that and be 3-3 and 2-1 in the Big Ten, look, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about this season. And when it all felt like things were slipping through our fingers and they weren't going our way, Nebraska found a way to bring us hope. That makes me really happy. I want to pull up the stats from the game. So, let me move this out of the way so I can see it. All right. First things first, the penalties were insane. You had 11 for 92 yards on IU, 12 for 111 on Nebraska. And honestly, if IU wouldn't have had as many penalties, if the refs were really rigging the game in IU's favor, it would have been really tough for Nebraska to win this game. So thank God they called an even game, even though it was a terribly called game. There were a ton of penalties that should not have been called. More like 6 for Nebraska, 5 for IU would have been fair, but whatever. A lot of crazy calls in this one. The rushing yards. We knew IU was going to throw the ball. We had talked about that in the preview. They threw it 44 times. That's ridiculous. And Nebraska's D actually did a really good job defending it. There were a couple. Marquise Buford broke down once. Malcolm Hartzog, true freshman from Mississippi, who has only started one game now, which is today, gave up a touchdown. I think it was a touchdown. But he made up for it by picking up a blocked punt that Kolarevic blocked. So the defense did their job today. They showed signs of life. Bill Bush is doing something that Shenander didn't. And that was hold the team to under 21 points. I mean, come on. That's incredible. IU has a real offense. I don't want to give IU too much credit and get you too amped up because this is still Indiana. It's still a lower level Big Ten team. But like I said, this is a building block. And IU had a quarterback, Connor Bazelak was SEC Freshman of the Year 2 years ago. That says something when you can hold him to 50% completion percentage. That's really good. They had a couple receivers out, okay, but they had Sean Shivers back there at running back. They had another running back, number 26. They had some good talent. So for Nebraska to be able to hold them to 67 yards rushing and under 300 yards passing, that's a feat. Nebraska, 385 total yards. Are you going to complain about that? Casey had 270 yards passing. Check out Trey Palmer. Ready? Wait, I want to highlight this one. Bam. 8 receptions, 157 yards, almost 20 yards a catch. Okay, everyone texted me about Trey. Got to turn on the air. I'm getting a little hot. Trey Palmer is open almost every time he runs a route. It's a fact. Trey Palmer is the best receiver on the field in most games he plays. It's a fact. Trey Palmer's speed allows Nebraska to run a different type of play that most teams can't run. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to execute that play that often this season. Now, when they can execute it, it works out to perfection and it works out beautifully, like the 71-yard completion that Thompson had to him. If Nebraska can find more ways to hit Trey deep downfield and not short him, here's what Casey's done in the past, and it's hard to hit these balls. You got to realize he's launching it like 50-plus yards in the air. He's got to not short it and make Trey come back to it, because when Trey has to come back to it, he's in a one-on-one battle with the DB. That gives the DB a chance to put his hand in the face and do all his BS. We want Trey to have a wide-open look where he just has to look over his shoulder like this and look it in, right? Marcus Washington had one of those plays tonight as well, and it got batted away. So if they can find more ways to get Trey deep looks and not underthrow him, this offense, that's the one thing they've been missing. They've been missing a big play capable guy, right? They had Adrian before, but this offense currently hasn't had the big play guy. Anthony Grant's a really consistent chunk guy. Let's check out Grant today. He had 4.3 yards a carry, 136 total yards. 17 was his long, but he's not breaking anything for 40, 30. It wasn't a consistent giant gash, which is something that Nebraska would find really useful when they're trying to get into the red zone. Fortunately, Nebraska had the special teams and the defense and everybody else help out today, and the offense didn't need to be as effective as it usually would have to, since the special teams and the defense are the ones being held back, or holding the offense back, is a better way to say it. But yeah, Trey Palmer, man, that guy is a freaking stud. Oliver Martin came on the scene today. 3 catches, 65 yards, 21 yards a catch. He had a touchdown. He almost had another touchdown. He had a big catch inside the red zone. So, yeah, there is a lot of talent for Casey to work with. And if Nebraska can keep finding ways to make this offense work, I think the defense is going to slowly get better. So shout out the defense on improving. Shout out Bill Bush. Man, Bill Bush is a stud because he got a lot done this week. Or what was it? This last week during the bye week. Dreamin' Digital, love you, love the team, love Mickey, love Husker Nation. We love you, Dreamin' Digital. Thank you for the $13. Guys, I'm happy tonight. It's been a lot of nights where I go to bed thinking to myself, I spend so much time on this channel. I spend so much time on Twitter. I spend so much time online reading and learning about Nebraska and investing and wanting so much for them. I want their success like I want my own success, which is so weird to say because usually a selfish person just wants to be successful on their own, right? But I would sacrifice a lot of things to see Nebraska successful. So to finally be able to go to bed tonight, it's 9 o'clock here. Say 11 rolls around, I'm going to lay in bed and I'm going to be chilling because Nebraska will have won. That feels good. It's been a long time since we got those feelings. I'm sure a lot of you are on the same page as me. Roger says Casey is almost as accurate as a Submariner. All right, Roger, here's the deal. Casey had some misses, but he was put into positions, and he had guys around him. He had to get the ball out. He had a couple passes that were behind guys, but he still got the ball to him. They weren't atrocious misses like Connor Bazelak. Connor Bazelak had atrocious misses that would be either sailed, which we had talked about in the preview. They'd be behind guys. They'd be short. That's an inaccurate quarterback. Casey is a blank slate that Mark Whipple can work with. There's a lot he can build on. Mark got in his ass tonight. But hopefully over the next few weeks, they keep finding and working out plays that are going to work in his favor. I'm going to pull up the video on Twitter of Whipple going in on Casey just because, man, I didn't know Whipple had it in him. Let me see here. You guys probably saw it on the TV. I don't even know if it was on TV or where I saw it, but it was a moment. Sorry, because I have to scroll for this freaking thing. It's so deep in the messages. I don't even know where it is. Wait, I think I found it. Yep, here it is. Bang. Oops. Oh, I accidentally made my screen too big. Sorry, guys. There's the post. Bang. So, as you can see, Casey goes to the sideline, and here goes Whipple. Going in. Yelling. I mean, he's hot. He doesn't like this. This is the moment when you knew Chubba Purdy was going to come in. Look at, just waves him off. Says, get the hell out of here. That is, whoo. He's hot. Okay, chat. Respect for this? You like the Whipple aggression? Or what do you think? You think Casey earned that? Or did Casey not earn that? To me, Casey made a bad play. Casey took another sack, and Whipple was just over it. Not that Casey's a bad QB, but what do you think? Whipple too hard on him? Respect? Love it? Okay, chat loves it. Chat likes it. A couple people said no. For the most part, got to be accountable. Yeah, okay. We're on the same page, guys. And I don't want anybody getting their feelings hurt, you know? Like, I wouldn't want Casey to feel like he's getting bullied by his coach. But at the same time, that accountability thing is something Nebraska's been missing. And not that Casey's this type of guy, but there's a lot of kids in college with egos. And they think they're above the team, or they think they're above the system. Again, this isn't about Casey. But the point is, a lot of coaches can't say anything to these kids because these kids will walk off or just be assholes about it. They'll just say, screw you, and literally they'll walk away. So it shows a sign of maturity for Casey to be able to say, I don't know what he said in that moment, but for him to be able to accept that moment as a learning moment, deal with it, and then come back out and have the game he had. Because Casey didn't sit on the sideline and cry that game. There were a lot of players in college football who would have cried about it. Kids like the guy at LSU who sits out the rest of the game and won't play because he's mad he's not getting enough touches or whatever, right? So there are guys who are like that. So shout out Casey. Maturity. Galactus, thank you for the 10. We out here searching for coaches. Mickey Joseph ain't heard no bell. That's hilarious. I'm sure he said something about that in the press conference. That's the thing. Mickey's out here fighting. Mickey wants, I don't know if he wants to be the head coach, but he wants to make sure this program gets back to where it should be. So Mickey still wants to win. So even though we feel like, man, we're struggling and there's all these issues, Mickey's like, screw that. Put your head down. We're going to work. We're going to find ways to win games. And today was a prime example. Ardwin, thank you for the 5. I wonder if Casey was scared to throw it away because the refs were calling so many intentional grounding calls. He very well could have been. There were a couple times when he did throw it away and they were calling it on him. It was ridiculous. The intentional groundings just felt like they were out of hand. The refs don't want to let the game get away from them, so they're trying to limit it. But The refs were crazy today. They were way too extra, in my opinion. Okay, wait, I just clicked the wrong comment. Well, we'll talk about this one first. Wonder how much momentum we'll have next week against Rutgers. To be honest, I think it's a lot of momentum right now. Let me see here what Rutgers is working with. We'll do a little preview on Rutgers schedule. So Rutgers football. They lost today in a blowout. What was it? 39 points. Okay, here we go. So they beat Boston College by 1. Boston College not very good. They smoked Wagner. Wagner's an FCS school, doesn't matter. They beat Temple by 2. They lost to Iowa by 17, and then they lost by 39 to Ohio State. Now, this is going to be a home game for Rutgers, so they're going to have a little bit more of an edge. It's a Friday night game. They're going to be a little, feeling themselves because Nebraska's not that good. They're going to have a chance in this one. But I really think this momentum coming off this game is going to do wonders for the defense, for the offense, for Mickey, for the entire coaching staff. The entire community for Nebraska football is feeling themselves right now. Look at me. If you can get the entire state and the entire program and all of the fans on the team's side and making them believe and vibing this and giving this positivity out, they're going to come out playing a different style of football. They're going to come out playing aggressive like they did tonight. They played with their fucking hair on fire. They didn't care. They came out to hit guys. Look at Luke Reimer. Luke Reimer had a guy come right over the middle, caught the ball on him like this, tucks it, gets lit up, and then Luke rips it straight from his freaking chest. Like it ripped his heart out of his body. It felt so good watching. That type of energy wins football games, especially against teams like Rutgers, because that's a game where you don't need to be extremely talented. You don't need to be freakishly good at football. You just need to have the want and the will and be willing to drive your guy backwards 10 yards and dominate him and make him feel like he's a little girl. And if Nebraska can continue to make teams feel like this, which they did at a lot of points in this Indiana game, they're going to win more. That momentum is the kind that we need in the Rutgers game. And I feel like that energy is going to carry over because we're all feeling that right now. IU got dominated in so many phases of the game because of the physicality. Nebraska hasn't won the physical battle in most games in the last 3, 4, 5, forever. So because it's been so long and to finally see them be physical, I think the team is going to start to feel themselves, right? That's kind of the point behind all this. The team is going to get confident. The team's going to start to feel this momentum, and other teams are going to struggle more with Nebraska because now Nebraska has an edge that they haven't come to the table with yet. Nebraska comes to the table with a little motivation, a little excitement, a little confidence, but they haven't come out like a lion. They got to come out like a lion, like they belong there, like they're going to win, and then they'll actually freaking win. You guys know all this. You guys know. Bradley, we were very conservative on third down. 3rd and 18 from 8 yards out of field goal range in the second quarter. In a draw play shows what? Lack of confidence in your QB or your kicker. I'm not sure what the thinking is. I don't even know what the situation was. Was it second quarter, so it would have been 21-21. I don't know why they weren't more aggressive in some of those situations, but at the same time, they're not trying to have either a debilitating sack for a fumble. They don't want an interception. I don't know why they weren't more aggressive though, but at the same time, you got to realize they've got Anthony Grant. Anthony Grant has shown big playability. He didn't have it today. He only had a 17-yard run, but if you've got a running back like Grant who can make something happen, maybe it's worth risking it on him. And it's the safer route, but you're at least not going to punch yourself in the face like Nebraska has in the past by trying to do these, grandiose plays that don't work out in their favor and end up crippling them for the entire game. I'd rather them not, cripple themselves. VJ, how about that fourth quarter play calling? Fire me up. They ran the shit out of the ball at the end. And when they were grinding it out and Indiana couldn't stop it, that's something Nebraska hasn't done. They always have these little runaround plays and take losses, and they wiped all that away tonight. This coaching staff showed that they know how to call a game when they're trying to win it. It's positive. Justin says the energy even continued into the press conferences after the game. The players were smiling, positive, and upbeat. I got to watch the press conferences still. I'm going to watch those after this, but I'm sure the players, you got to realize, they're in the locker room finally. I'm going to show you. what's going on in the locker room. Also, Justin, thank you for being a member. Everybody who's a member of the channel, shout out to you guys. Anybody who is a member, you can use all my emojis, the corn craze emojis, bang, bang. I just put them in chat so you can see them. But the perks of being a member is, wait, I'm trying to find this. The perks of being a member is being able to get your comments responded to by me on my regular videos right away. Just a heads up. Okay, Nebraska locker room. Oh, that was Husker Football Nation posted it. Football Nation. Here it is. Bang, bang. Trev. Mickey's getting pumped. They were chanting Mickey's name. I love the audio on this right now. But they're literally chanting, Mickey. They were hyped. That's what's going on in the locker room. It's just positive vibes over here, guys. It's positive vibes. Galactus said, I'd like to see more design runs for Grant to the edge. Announcers talking crap about how he's not the fastest, but nobody can catch him once he gets to the sideline. Yeah, they like to run on the inside. I noticed that. There were a couple times when they let him get out, but he wasn't able to break anything, so he paused. There was one run at the end there when he was trying to pick up a first down. He kind of sat and waited for a block. He waited a good 3 seconds. I was surprised the blocking was so good in that moment, but hopefully they do get some more outside runs. We'll have to see. But yeah, guys, this is positive. Jerome says downtown Lincoln is going nuts. I bet it is. We finally got a win, man. It's any positivity. Any positivity is what we want. Chase has some confidence here, guys. I don't know if I can get behind this comment. I support it, and I want him to be right. But Chase says, calling this now, Nebraska goes 9-3 and makes it to the Big Ten championship. It's a reach. It's a reach. But hopefully. Chat, what are you thinking about today's games? So, Wisconsin lost to Illinois. What's a more likely scenario? A, Nebraska beats Wisconsin. B, Nebraska beats Illinois. I'm curious. That was a big game today. That was a big win for Illinois. What are we thinking? Illinois, Wisconsin. It's a toss. Illinois. It's a lot of Illinois. It's going to be interesting. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but I feel like Nebraska, if they have a night environment for that Wisconsin game, they could end up doing some damage. They could beat the Badgers. And could you imagine if they beat Wisconsin or Iowa this year in a down year? When Nebraska's at the bottom, could you imagine they figured out a way to pull it out? Daniel, thank you for the 10, Daniel. Connor, stoked to catch you live. So excited for Mickey and all the boys. Love your channel. Corn Crazed Army. Thank you for being here, Daniel. Glad you made it to the live too. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for the players because they have gone through so much over these last, 3 weeks? 3-ish weeks. Their head coach got fired. A lot of these guys transferred in here, so they came here with hopes that something would be better, and it hasn't. And now they finally get some breath of positivity. You don't understand. That does wonders for your mind. It's going to do wonders for them down the road. It's going to pay. Man, it's exciting. Dom says, didn't know Nebraska had this much depth. Holy cow. Mickey and his staff have already started the player development. That's the thing. There's a lot of talent on this team, and it wasn't utilized correctly. It wasn't developed properly. And with the right coach, they can probably pull out some magic from these guys. Like we talked about today, Malcolm Hartzog is a new starter. He hasn't played at all. He's a true freshman. You've got guys in the offensive line who are having to step up and take roles. There are plenty of guys on special teams. Phelan Sanford's been playing special teams, and he's been playing a bunch of defense. There's a lot of talent in that depth chart, but who knows how well it's been developed. It's all things we can look forward to. It's so exciting. Minnesota lost today. Foo-foo. They lost to Purdue. And what was interesting is Purdue was supposed to have Aiden O'Connell be questionable, and then he ended up playing. And Minnesota had no mention that Mo Ibrahim would be out. And then he ends up not playing at all. So Minnesota ends up getting beat down pretty good. I think they lost by 10. Purdue's a decent team, but again, Purdue's beatable. Every team is beatable. That's the best part about the Big Ten West. Anybody can win. Talk about the blocked punt touchdown. Kolarevic he didn't get benched this week, but Kolarevic got moved over from nickel to inside linebacker, I think. Called a little bit of a demotion, let's say, okay? But the dude still came out because he wasn't as successful at nickel was the issue. Dude still came out, was on punt team, fired through there, had a massive block, and Hartzog picked up for the touchdown. I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect for a guy like that who has struggled in his position to have something go his way. Massive moment because that swayed the entire game. That was the first time, I have the stats somewhere in my phone. It was the first time since 2009, 13 years. The first time since 2009 at Baylor that Nebraska's had a punt block for a touchdown, which I was actually surprised by that. Someone DM'd me and they said that Nebraska had a punt block against Purdue in 2020, which was true. Levi Falk did, but I guess it didn't result in a touchdown. Either way, a massive moment, game-changing moment. Really got the momentum on our side, and yeah, it ultimately really helped Nebraska close out that game. Okay, Purdy or Smothers, Thompson won't last with this O-line. I don't agree with that. Okay, Thompson is a really good quarterback. He's got his issues, but he continues to figure out ways to make it work, and he's got an arm, right? He has the best accuracy out of the quarterbacks, not even a debate. Purdy, tonight, that's kind of how I feel about it. I wanted to see more from him because he had a couple opportunities, but it just kind of felt like, Smothers probably would have been a better option when he was in because they didn't really throw with Purdy. They just ran the ball with him. So I was surprised that they didn't put Smothers in there instead of Purdy. But Thompson's in no fear of losing his job. Thompson will get smacked around by Whipple, though. I think Whipple's going to be on his ass over these next couple weeks to make sure that he's locked in because he wants to make sure he's not taking these sacks. Those sacks are debilitating, right? When he backs up and just keeps dropping back and doesn't try to scramble or try to make a play. Look at how successful Adrian Martinez was this week and last week. 2 games he won on his shoulders, and he's so productive because when everything breaks down, he finds a lane and makes something happen. Casey has the ability. That dude is a solid quarterback. He's a solid athlete. You watched him run in for a touchdown tonight. What was it? Fourth quarter, I don't even remember the circumstance. Nebraska was up 7, I think. Basically, when they needed a play from him, he didn't sit back and try and throw the ball. He ran straight up the middle. It might have been a design QB run. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and watch it. But the point is, he scrambled in. It was huge. Big moment. So, Thompson over Smothers and Purdy. Loyal to Thompson for sure. Grantham. I believe Trev is going to make the right coaching choice no matter what he does. He knows what's best for the program. And that's kind of the point, right? Trev was sitting on the sideline tonight, at the end at least, and I saw him on TV. He was wearing his Nebraska stuff, and he's dapping up the players. He was having a good time because he's finally getting to see a win, which is what we've all been waiting for so long. And his energy was so good. You could just tell he was happy because he wanted Mickey to win, obviously. He wanted these players to win. He wanted the stadium to feel some positive life, and he finally got that. So Trev being the type of AD who wants Nebraska to win as bad as we, the fans, want Nebraska to win, to me means he's going to make the right choice for coach no matter what, because he's like us. He's not sitting here looking at this as just a paycheck or something he's got to get done and checked off his list. He's so invested in it. The same way you and I would be invested in it. Because think if you and I were making this coaching choice. We'd be sitting here. We'd make about 500 videos on every coach that exists right now in college football. We'd analyze all the pros and cons, and we try to come to the best conclusion. Ultimately, Trev's going to do the same thing. He hired a $1 million agency that's going to try and help him find and pinpoint the best coach for this job. So, yes, I believe in Trev. I'm a full supporter on him. Thank you for the 5, Grantham. Back to chat, guys. Janice talking about Kansas is 5-0. So there was a game today between Kansas and Baylor. I'm going to pull up stats on that one. We can talk about that for a minute. So one of the running conversations that we've got over here at Crazed, that's basketball. No. One of the running conversations we've got going on. Why is it so hard to find this game? Is about the coaching search, of course. And we talk about some of the schools who have coaches competing in this coaching search. And one of them is Kansas. They don't want to be part of this coaching search, but unfortunately, they got brought into it. So today, Kansas played a game against Iowa State, who's got a coach who Nebraska could potentially talk to as well, in Matt Campbell. And there were a lot of people saying, oh, Matt Campbell's done now. He lost to Kansas, and now he's 3-2. So he lost to Dave Aranda. Now he lost to Lance Leipold. So wipe Matt Campbell off the board. But it's not that simple. Matt Campbell had a kicker today who missed, let's double check it. I think it was 3. He missed 3 field goals today. And they weren't long. They were 40 yards or less, I think. He was 1 for 4. And that cost him effectively 9 points. That would have made the game 20-14, Iowa State. So Iowa State, in my opinion, just because they had a kicker screw it up, isn't out of the running to lose their coach to Nebraska. Obviously, Lance Leipold is super attractive right now. His defense did enough today. The offense, a little underwhelming. Just look at these stats. The key here is to understand what type of coach he is. Leipold is an offensive coach who has been averaging, 48 points a game. Today against Iowa State, who's the first, to be fair, we'll call it real defense, he's had to play against. He only had 100 yards passing and 100 yards rushing. Daniel Hishaw got hurt. That's like their number 1 running back, so he didn't play the whole game. But still, just not too effective today with the offense. Does it change your opinion of him? I don't know. Should it change your opinion of him? Probably not. It's just one game. And all of these games are fun for us, right? It's fun to BS and talk about, oh, well, this coach plays this coach, and if Matt Campbell wins or Leipold wins, that's the coach I want. But that's just not the reality, because these individual games don't matter. What will matter is the final record. If Kansas breaks in the top 25 next week, which it will now, confirmed, because they're 5-0, Kansas will be playing, I don't even know who next. Let's double check it. Kansas plays TCU next, who just romped Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a joke. They got nothing going. So next week they're going to play TCU. And if they keep it rolling, then there's going to be a lot more hype and a lot more discussion about Lance Leipold, not only at Nebraska, but at Auburn, at Arizona State. I mean, he wouldn't leave for a lateral move like Arizona State, right? But in Auburn or in Nebraska or a bigger job that opens up, they could come calling. So it's just something to watch for, something to take note of. There's some other good games today. Baylor played Oklahoma State. Dave Aranda's defense, man. They couldn't get it done this time. 36-25. Oklahoma State, to be fair, is really strong. They got a really good quarterback back in his 3rd year as a starter. Their running backs are okay. But really the story was Baylor's offense. They couldn't close it out. They had some turnovers. I don't know if you watched that game. It was actually a really good game, really exciting the entire way through. And Oklahoma State just pulled away in the 3rd quarter, it felt like. But Baylor had some times where they took shots back. It's just, yeah, it was a tight one. Either way, again, this shouldn't impact your view of either of these coaches or any of these coaches. Not that Gundy's an option, but any of these coaches going forward. 3-2 Baylor is still better than a whatever Baylor was before, 7-5. Baylor's still going to finish this year with 8 wins, 9 wins. It's a potential. So, doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter because we have no idea how this is going to pan out. And we're not talking about the coaching search today. We're talking about Nebraska winning. Golden Schlong says, Corn Dude, I owe you an apology. Why? What did you say, Golden Schlong? Did you say Nebraska was going to win? Or Nebraska was going to lose? Did you say something and try and be disrespectful? It's all good. I accept your apology, and we can still keep loving on each other. Dylan says, would you start Corcoran next week? Yeah. What? Corcoran didn't do anything. Corcoran smacked the dude in the face like that. That was it. They made it sound like Corcoran walked up and just pop, pop. He didn't do that. I watched it. I watched it on TV. I watched the replay. My friend called me. He said, that's BS. That was a joke. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about Corcoran. Mickey's probably going to laugh too because Mickey went in on him on the sideline. But Mickey's going to go back and rewatch it and be like, this is BS. There's no way this dude deserves to be suspended or have any issues. So I'm sure he's good. Corcoran went after him, though, on the line. He was getting hard, like getting a hard push. They were all physical. The offensive line and defensive line were pushing forward. And you like the way guys were driving their feet today. Yant drove his feet really hard. Anthony Grant drove his feet really hard. It felt like everyone wanted to fall forward, the offensive and the defensive line. The linebackers, man. Luke Reimer stepped up. He had multiple big plays, multiple deflections. He had the, yes, he had an interception. He had the end game deflection. He had another deflection before that. He was hitting dudes hard. It felt like the entire team was playing aggressive. Felt freaking good. Ricky says they're still shooting off fireworks in his neighborhood. The whole town is pumped. Dude, I freaking bet. It's a big day. It's been a year since Nebraska's won a significant or meaningful game. Smoking Cactus said that Mickey said that he'll go back and look at the play and appeal it if he needs to. There you go. And he should. I would hope he does. And to be fair, I get it from Corcoran. They about ripped Casey's head off. Yeah, and I didn't see it. They probably did. The Indiana guys were probably really aggressive, and Corcoran was trying to defend his quarterback. So it totally makes sense, right? The refs extended the length of the game by 40 minutes. It's true. That was ridiculous. And yeah, we watched that moment on Twitter where Trev gave the game ball to Mickey. It was awesome. He deserves it, man. Mickey's been through a lot in these last 9 months. He didn't know he was going to have to be the head coach this year. He was prepared for it, but yeah, it was freaking awesome. Bradley says, Connor, you have to give out one black shirt. Who is it? I am going to give my black shirt to Luke Reimer. There's no question. Let's go look at the tackles from today. Let me see here. Is there a tackle stat box out yet? Let's see. Here it is. So, Ty Robinson, we mentioned, had a good day. Luke Reimer, 2 pass deflections, 2 tackles, and he had an interception as well. So, Luke Reimer's my black shirt for the day, for sure. Quentin Newsome had some good tackles. He didn't break down in coverage that often. He might have given up one big pass. Isaac Gifford had good tackles, and he had tackles for loss. Ty Robinson, man. Finally! It's taken so long to see him do anything. I had so much faith in him before the season. I thought he'd be in the backfield all the time, and he just hasn't been. But today he got back there, so that was really good. Who else on here? I think those are really the focuses that I watched today. Ty Robinson was constantly in the backfield. Luke Reimer was all over it. Nick Henrich had a good game as well. You saw him make a lot of tackles, and he was feasting. So, yeah, Luke Reimer is my final choice. What do you guys think, chat? A, black shirt for Ty Robinson. B, black shirt for Luke Reimer. I think everybody's going to say Reimer. That's my guess. Someone said Nelson. Reimer. It's mostly Reimer. Garrett Nelson had a couple good plays. I'm not sure what happened to Garrett Nelson. Garrett Nelson got hurt, but I'm not sure what kind of injury it was. I'll have to look into that later. Garrett Nelson came. He had a freaking motor today. Hopefully he gets better. I don't know what his issue was, like I said. But he didn't get carried off, but he got put down. Corey says, the real question is, will they build off this win or will they be inconsistent the next week? This is a solid win either way. I hope they continue to put together a winning streak. That is the question, and it's something Nebraska hasn't been able to do in a long time. They can win one game and get excited one time and then blow it for the rest of the year. And if I had to guess, Nebraska has a really favorable schedule for these next couple weeks. They've got Purdue, decent. They've got Rutgers, equivalent to Indiana. And as long as they can win one of those, I think you got some positive momentum for the rest of the way. And they're going to get at least 2 or 3 more wins this season, which is crazy to think about because just last week we thought they won't win another game. There were a lot of people who were telling me Nebraska's not going to win another game this year, which I have been telling everyone that is impossible because by default, Nebraska will win one just because another team gives it away because Nebraska does have enough talent to stay in all these games, right? So by default, Nebraska's going to win another one after this. I can promise you that. Will they win 2? Will they win 3? I don't know. But Nebraska has another win on this schedule for sure. It's very interesting to watch, though. I'll tell you that. With the Big Ten West, it's going to be very interesting to watch. And Nick says, credit to Bill Busch for simplifying the defense and to allow these guys to play hard. Did you guys notice that? What do you think changed in the defense? I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and watch it because I wasn't paying attention to the details. I'm guessing he had to do something different because the defense looked night and day better than what we've seen. They only gave up 21 points. Nebraska's defense. What? He did something different. Was it the tackling? Were they getting their head around? Was it the fact that Indiana didn't have their 2 best receivers? Probably not that. But who knows what it was. It was exciting to watch, though. Oh, here you go. Defense only gave up 14 points. The offense gave up 7. It's a great point. It's a great point. Nebraska's offense gave up that extra 7 in the end zone. Defense was on fire. VJ says it's the effort and intensity. And I think that's really what it was. They came out hot. They hit dudes hard. They didn't quit. They all had a high motor, and they were all motivated to win this game. And they never let off the gas. You know, that's kind of the thing. In a lot of these games, towards the end, guys will start to put their hands on their hips. You've seen it. They'll hold their shoulder pads like this. And then you just have this feeling like, what is that? Because the offense is churning. And they're feeling themselves. And then the defense, hands on their heads. It's over. The starters are tapped. And Nebraska now can't win the game because their defense has given up. That's happened these last few games. I didn't see one guy with his head down today. The entire game. Heads up. Energy high. Taking normal breaths. Are they better conditioned? Could that be it? I don't know. Are they rotating guys better? Are they eating better? I don't know what it is. There's something that changed this week, though. What is it? I don't know. It was freaking awesome. Nathan wants to know if recruiting is staying strong. I think recruiting's fine right now. I'm not thinking too much into recruiting. There's going to be so much that happens when the coaching transition happens, whether that's Mickey staying or a new guy coming in. The recruiting class could completely flip. You could lose everybody, and you could have to start over in that final week. Look back to when Scott Frost got hired 5 years ago, when Mike Riley got let go. The entire class was flipped. It was totally different recruits. So I don't like to spend too much time thinking about it because it just doesn't matter at this point. A lot of the guys who are playing at other schools right now are going to be playing at Nebraska next year. Keep that in mind too. This transfer portal thing is crazy. So there might be 5 or 6 transfer portal guys next year who are currently guys we just watched today. Who knows? So, yeah, not looking too much into recruiting. But I'm assuming it's going to be okay. Alex says they're playing hard for Mickey. And that's the point. They're playing hard for a coach they like. Maybe that's what it is. Roger says the no music at practice has to be it. That might be it. That might be helpful. They might be more focused. They might not be, just kind of BSing through it. And, it's when you're playing music at practice, they might just be having fun. And now they're more locked in and they're listening to their coaches. It's the little things, guys. It's the details. The most successful people in life are detail-oriented. If you turn off the music and focus a little bit more on what you're supposed to be focusing in on, maybe that's part of it. Eagle Livewire, thank you for becoming a member. And we have another member. Oh, we got Eagle Livewire with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Eagle. We appreciate you guys, everybody who's super chatted, everybody who's become a member, everybody who supports the channel. You guys are freaking awesome. I've been putting out a ton of content lately. I mean, I try to do 3 or 4 videos a week, including going live. I try to find guests for you. I try to make sure that this channel has as much content as you need to get through your week, because I know it's a long week leading up to every game. So I'm doing my best, trying to continue to bring you guys good content. I always am open to ideas. Whenever you guys DM me people you want to hear from, things you want me to talk about, whatever it is, I try to incorporate that in shows in any way I can. So always, this is your channel as much as it is mine, because without you, I'm not here. Corn Crazed is us. Corn Crazed is not me. I'm Connor. We're Corn Crazed. You feel me? Point is, thank you guys for all the support, because it makes it so I can continue to do this. And I really enjoy doing this. This shit's fun. Miguel, thank you for the 5. Cheers to Mickey's first W. Let's reflect and replicate what we did well on and build off on some opportunities. One thing that I think we did well on was we ran the ball when we needed to. And I think if Nebraska can continue to do that and have more success running it, they're going to be really successful next week. I'm not sure what that Rutgers defense is looking like. Are they strong against the run? Are they strong against the pass? They got gashed a few times today by Mayan Williams, the running back at Ohio State. I watched some of that. So if they're susceptible, maybe we got to gash them there. Anthony Grant and who else looked good? Gabe Irvin looked pretty good. He didn't get that many touches. I think he only had 6, 7, 8. Let me double check. I don't want to give you guys false information. No fake news over here. Gabe Irvin had 6 carries for 21 yards, but he had an 8-yard gain on one of them. The point is, continue to try and run it. I think that's one thing that Nebraska can build off of. I think the run game is what Nebraska's got to lean on, even though they don't have the offensive line, just because they're not going to make as many mistakes there. And if you can establish the run, it'll open up the pass, and Casey will be able to find Trey Palmer 9,000 yards downfield for a touchdown. That's the thing. Screw it. Starting over, the thing to build on is find a way to get Casey and Trey on the same page so Casey can launch at 60 yards to him 4 or 5 times a game and not underthrow him. Because I'm telling you, if Trey beats the DB like he does every single day, Nebraska's going to score a lot of points the rest of the season. It's going to happen. Husker Nation, the defense was more aggressive, pushing forward when necessary and forming more of a bubble around Casey for the big plays. That's true. The offensive line had some good protection today, and I think that offensive line, did they learn something new? Is it a better pairing between linemen? Did they go up against a worse defensive front? I don't think the IU defensive front is that bad. So I'm honestly going to say there was some improvement made. Casey's definitely going to have a better year if they can find a way to get some of those offensive linemen in the right places. So if they can get Corcoran back, if they can get Kevin Williams Jr. back, some more of their depth going, then yeah, I think Casey's in a really good spot going forward. He had 270 yards passing today. That's not bad. Georgie with the $10 super chat. Thank you for the support, Georgie. I always see you on the videos commenting. Dashcammer, loyal, longtime subscriber, just became a member. Thank you, brother. I always try to respond to your comments anyway, but now it'll make it easier for me to find them. Here's a good point, and I kind of agree with this. Jose says that Corcoran played well, played better than Teddy. Corcoran has played better all year than Teddy has. And obviously Teddy's out for the season with the shoulder injury. But I like what we've got in Corcoran. And I think there's a chance that he's going to come back next week, a little chip on his shoulder, a little pissed off, right? And he's going to make the most of his opportunities now. Because he's like, yo, I just got jammed up and got pulled out of the game. That's going to piss him off. So I'm not saying it was a good thing he got pulled today, of course, because I think that was kind of a BS call. But maybe it'll give him a little edge, a little more motivation. And the way he played with the physicality today really was nice. Because, yes, Chad, we do need more mean guys. Don't get me started. Became a member. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Dalton, do you think we win the game with Frost? Chat. A, Nebraska wins the game with Frost. B, it's already no. People are already flooding it with no. B is no. No. Everyone says B. No. No. Everyone says no. Yo, Mickey Joseph's a GOAT because Mickey Joseph's the only one who could get it done today. It's Mickey time. Scott who? No. Hell no. Chat is telling you, bro. Dalton, apparently chat says no. There was no progression under Scott Frost. The players wouldn't have been inspired. And Mickey is really him. It's Mickey time. It would have been a 1-score loss with Scott Frost. With Scott Frost, they could have, but not with Chenander. Yo, that's a key thing, man. That's a key thing. Chenander being gone, Bill Bush. Bill Bush held IU to 14 points. Let that soak in. Is Bill Bush ready to be a DC? Of course he is. Bill Bush is the DC. Guy's a freaking champ. Dom, I saw your comment in here. The other day on our live, we made sure to give Dom some suggestions because today was his first ever Nebraska home game. So everyone in the chat gave him some suggestions on places to go, places to eat. So Dom, I'm glad to hear that you were able to get some good spots. And I hope you had a good time at your first Nebraska home game. I will be back at my next Nebraska home game on November 19th for the Wisconsin game. I'm freaking pumped to see all you there. But yeah, Mickey's got that freaking dog in him. That's why I'm going back to that game. Because if Mickey wasn't head coach, I honestly probably would cancel that trip. Because why would I show up to go and support a team who doesn't have a leader, a fearless leader, a freaking leader who wants to win? I wouldn't. Because my time's too valuable for that. I'd have to get on a plane and do the whole deal. Man, that's a lot of effort. Mickey Joseph making me come back to the Wisconsin game, especially with wins like this. He's the man. Ugh, Mickey's just got me pumped. Eagle says, love the work you do. Keep it up, GBR. Thank you for the 20, Eagle. Thank you for being a member. Just thank you for the support in general. I think I told you that before, but, you know, I could double down on the love. Ethan says he would love to beat Wisconsin this year. And guys, I think you have to realize, as down bad as Nebraska is and has been, this is probably the year that they're going to beat either Wisconsin or Iowa. Think about that for a second. Iowa is in the dumps because their head coach made a trash decision to promote his son, who's already a terrible offensive coordinator. Wisconsin is in the dumps. Even though they have one of the best running backs in college football, they have no offensive line. Their defense is atrocious. Their quarterback is horrible. And they both want to lose games. It's been a long time since we could say that about either of those two teams. And it won't be as sweet because neither of those two teams will be ranked when we play them. But I don't care. We're going to beat Wisconsin or we're going to beat Iowa. And it's going to feel freaking good. Finally. Don't get me started says, do we win if Martinez was still our QB? That's a good question, man. Huh. Based on the way Adrian's playing this year, how do I say no? Because Adrian's on fire. Adrian's issues were in part Scott Frost's issues. They weren't all Adrian. They were because Scott Frost was calling the game to force Adrian to do too much. Not saying Adrian didn't do too much sometimes, do more than asked, but let's say Mickey Joseph and Mark Whipple were working with Adrian. My guess is they would call the game a little bit more balanced and less heavy on his shoulders, in which case I think he'd look a lot more like the Kansas State version of Adrian than the Scott Frost Nebraska version of Adrian. I hope that answers your question. The answer is yes, I think Nebraska won today with Adrian Martinez. I think Nebraska won a lot more games with Adrian Martinez at quarterback if Scott Frost wouldn't have been the coach. I put more blame on Scott Frost than I do on Adrian. Just the way it is. Now, I'm not saying Adrian would have won the Heisman here with a different coach. Well, he very well could have. But I'm not saying that even with the offensive line issues and even with the defensive issues and even with everything else and all the circumstances that he was put into, that he would have been night and day better. But he would have been an upgraded version of himself, which I think we can say he is that now. He's an upgraded version of what he was last year at Kansas State today. And that's why they're what, 4-1, 3-2, something like that. That's just my opinion on it. That's just my opinion. I really like Adrian. I think he's freaking awesome. And respectable guy, right? He's just such a good person. So, Alex said Kansas State's 4-1. Man, that Kansas State versus Kansas rivalry game towards the end of the year here. That's going to be a battle. That's going to be a good one to watch. There are so many good matchups now because the playing feels a little bit more even. We're getting to see all these teams with good talent spread across the board, good coaching. It's an exciting time, man. Jose says Kansas State has a really good line. We have the worst line in the FBS. Yes, you're right. But I don't think that Adrian's offensive line struggles were were so bad that it got him to the point where he would turn it over every single time. I think there were a few turnovers caused by the offensive line play, right? But I think what Adrian brought to the table and what he would have brought to the table today is his ability to extend drives, extend plays, and make things happen when it looked like nothing could happen. So yeah, the offensive line is going to hurt him, always. It's going to hurt every quarterback. But look at Casey today. Casey had a really good day today. I don't know how many times he got sacked. Let's see. Casey got sacked 4 times. Wow. Regardless, Adrian only would have gotten sacked twice. Probably. Or, yeah, probably. Garrett says, statistically, we might have the worst line in the FBS before today, but today showed that we don't have the least talented line in the FBS. And that's true. Statistically, I think Nebraska was the 3rd best offensive line in the country, or the 3rd worst offensive line in the country. That's crazy. But today showed that that's obviously not the case anymore. They're stepping up. Yo, the chef became a member. Thank you, chef. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody who's a member, everybody who's super chatting. Sam just sent 5. Thank you, Sam. If you've got a question, send it. I'll make sure I respond to it. Appreciate the support a ton. All of you guys are awesome. Love our community. We've already been live for an hour. Jeez. I love that you guys are still dialed in with me. Still going through chat. Positive day, but I still think it's week to week. And I think that's where I want to end this comment, right? Really excited for the future of Nebraska football in terms of today until December 1st or November 25th or whatever it is. Am I going to sit here and say that Nebraska's going to win 4 or 5 games? No. Am I going to sit here and tell you that Nebraska has a chance in every single game? I am. And I'm going to tell you that you should be excited about their odds in every single one of those games. Because with motivation, with desire, with aggressiveness, they're going to win some of them. And today showed us that they still have that inside. It looked like under Scott Frost, it was pulled out for some reason. And they had lost what it takes to be a winning college football team. But today, it looks like Mickey Joseph and Bill Bush have found a combination, or found something that works in combination of the two of them, to make this team excited and amped up going forward. And because of that, there's still a lot of hope for more wins. I hope that Nebraska can beat Rutgers and carry momentum into Purdue. And I hope that if they do, they're going to be in a really good position to win that Purdue game. Because a Nebraska team that would be 4-2 going into that last stretch of the year. Would it be 4-2? How many games have they lost? The point is, if Nebraska has 2 Big Ten wins under their belt, or even 3 going into the back end against Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, I think there's a really good chance that they could get bowl eligible. It's a reach. Don't come for me. But there's a really good chance if they are inspired enough and if they want it enough. We're going to see. I don't know. I've got one more super chat from Noah. Not a question, but I've heard from some people here in Omaha that Frost skipped out on the meeting in Ireland. Also heard he did some hardcore drugs. Okay, well, I'm sure the hardcore drugs thing is BS. I don't know. And I've heard he's done all kinds of things with skipping meetings in Iowa. Meetings in Ireland. I don't know the answers to all the rumors. We've talked about them before, but yeah, crazy time. Crazy time. At least we've moved on to someone who we know is really focused. And Mickey Joseph is really focused. He wants to win. And so do these other coaches. So does Trev Alberts. So we have the right staff in place. It's freaking exciting. I've got and thank you for the $5 super chat, Noah. So I'm probably going to do I'm going to figure out what type of video to do tomorrow or Monday. What we learned from this Indiana game. Then I'll have the Rutgers preview up on Tuesday. I'll be live on Wednesday, I think, for the social club. And then Thursday or Friday before the game, I'll go live again for the weekend. So we've got a lot of exciting content coming up. I'm starting to feel better. I've got new energy. Nebraska's got a win under their belt. it's an exciting time to be a Nebraska fan. So with all of that said, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my night before I go to bed because it's a winning night for me. Feels freaking good. And I hope you do too. And until the next video, thank you for being here. Go Big Red.